By early 1943, the Axis position in North Africa had been pushed back into Tunisia. The defeat at El Alamein in November 1942, followed by the Allied landings in Morocco and Algeria, forced the German Afrika Korps and their Italian allies into defensive positions there. Now under pressure from two directions, they faced the British 8th Army, advancing from Libya in the east, and the British 1st Army pushing from Algeria in the west, its ranks including not only British and Commonwealth troops, but American units as well. The road to Steamroller Farm. The Germans launched Operation Ochsenkopf, Oxhead, on 26 February 1943, a major counter-offensive intended to seize vital positions in northern Tunisia, with Mejez el-Bab a key objective. One thrust of the operation fell upon Steamroller Farm, a strategic point dominating the road between El Arousa and Mejez. The task of meeting this attack fell to a company of the 2nd Battalion Coldstream Guards, supported by Churchill Mark III tanks of the 51st Royal Tank Regiment. Enter the Churchill tank. The Allies deployed a diverse range of tanks in the theatre, from American Shermans to British Valentines and Crusaders. Yet one would stand out in Tunisia for its unusual combination of heavy armour and plodding speed: the Churchill infantry tank. The Churchill was a massive vehicle, 24 feet long, almost 11 feet wide, and weighing 39 tons. With up to 4 inches of frontal armour, it could shrug off hits that destroyed lighter machines. Its somewhat anemic 350 horsepower Bedford engine delivered modest speed, 15 miles per hour on roads, half that across desert ground, but its torque gave the Churchill impressive climbing power, making it well suited to Tunisia's broken hills and gullies. The Churchill Marks III and IV, armed with a 6-pounder gun, could penetrate German armour at close range, though its lack of high explosive rounds made it less effective against infantry and field positions. Manned by a crew of 5, it was slow but dependable, often absorbing damage long enough to stay in the fight. In February 1943, these qualities would be put to the test at Steamroller Farm, named for the large steamroller standing by the farm buildings. Here, a squadron of Churchills was thrown against a fortified German position, and what followed became one of the most dramatic tank actions of the Tunisian campaign. A tough start. On 28 February 1943, A Squadron of the 51st Royal Tank Regiment under Major E.W.H. Hadfield was tasked with supporting a company of the Coldstream Guards probing towards Steamroller Farm. Unknown to Hadfield, the farm was defended by 2 battalions of the Hermann Göring Division, reinforced by elements of a Panzer Grenadier Regiment equipped with numerous anti-tank guns, including the dreaded 88mm Flak gun. The reconnaissance quickly proved punishing. German artillery, well-sighted anti-tank positions and Stuka dive bombers disabled 5 of the squadron's 9 Churchills. Four tanks remained operational. Captain Hollands' solo assault. By mid-afternoon, 2 of these survivors stayed on the flanks providing supporting fire, and a 3rd tank, commanded by Lieutenant John Renton, stood off short of the farm. Then came the critical order. Major Hadfield was instructed by Higher Command to advance through Steamroller Farm and to take the high ground beyond, quote, at any cost. Hadfield passed the task to Captain Hollands, commander of 1 troop. In practice, this meant only 1 tank, Hollands' own Adventurer, since the other vehicle in his troop had already been knocked out earlier in the day, a fact Hadfield may have overlooked. Nevertheless, Hollands advanced alone, steering Adventurer toward the fortified position. As he did so, the infantry company of the Coldstream Guards was working its way around to the left in an effort to flank the farm. Adventurer crossed a shallow wadi under heavy anti-tank fire and swung onto the road that curved straight up towards the ridge beyond the farm, presenting its thick frontal armour to the enemy. Concealing scrub briefly broke the German crew's aim when a camouflaged 88mm gun at the road's bend came into view at point-blank range. Hollands halted, traversed and fired. His 6-pounder shot and Beezer machine gun fire wrecked the gun, clearing the immediate approach. Pushing on, Adventurer ran into another hidden 88mm gun, concealed behind a barricade of vegetation. The German gun fired without warning, its round scoring a glancing hit on the turret, gouging a deep furrow along it. A loose round had jammed the turret traverse, and as the crew fought frantically to clear the obstruction, the Germans reloaded and fired again. The blast and flash from the cannon's muzzle surely sealing Adventurer's fate. However, the 88mm round missed completely. As the crew finally freed the jammed mechanism, the gunner reloaded the hull Beezer. Emerging from the turret, Captain Hollands joined the fray, laying down suppressing fire with his Thompson submachine gun before lobbing several grenades. Then the Beezer came to life and began spitting lead into the foliage, and the Germans, overwhelmed, finally broke and ran. During this close-in fighting, the tank flattened German slit trenches as it climbed toward the ridge. A determined German soldier repeatedly launched rifle grenades from one slit trench. Adventurer's crew poured Beezer and 6-pounder fire into the area, but the man persisted until a fourth 6-pounder round landed just in front of the trench, which seemed to vanish in a cloud of smoke and dust. The German crawled out, dropped his rifle and staggered away. No one aboard the Churchill was inclined to take the matter further. Pushing forward up the steep incline, the tank rumbled over more slit trenches, then crested the high ground where a large enemy laager was revealed. Hollands unleashed the 6-pounder and Beezer machine gun on trucks, vehicles and several anti-tank guns, setting fuel and ammunition ablaze. Within minutes, some 25 vehicles were destroyed, and German infantry and artillery positions were devastated. Recognizing the need for reinforcements, Hollands then radioed Major Hadfield. Renton joins the fight. Hadfield dispatched Lieutenant J.G. Renton to reinforce Hollands. Renton's Churchill advanced along the road past the knocked-out 88s and joined Adventurer on the high ground. At that point, Hollands spotted 2 German Panzer IIIs near the crest, but was unable to depress his gun enough to engage them. However, Renton's gunner managed to put 3 rounds into each. At that point, shortly after 1800 hours, Hollands received the order to withdraw, and both tanks turned around and headed back down the steep incline. Withdrawal and aftermath. Hollands' tank stalled during the return journey. Renton stopped his tank, and together their crews attached a tow and managed to restart Adventurer. Under fire from mortars and machine guns, both tanks returned safely to friendly lines. The battle was costly. A squadron lost 5 Churchills, 3 total losses and 2 abandoned, though later recovered, and suffered 3 dead and 11 wounded. Despite this, Captain Hollands' assault inflicted massive damage. 8 anti-tank guns, including 2 88mm guns, 25 vehicles, 2 Panzer III tanks, several mortars destroyed, and German casualties estimated at between 150 and 200. British signallers intercepted a rather shaken German message from the Hermann Göring commander, praising the ferocity of the attack, calling it a mad tank battalion which scaled impossible heights. For his actions, Captain Hollands received the Distinguished Service Order, Lieutenant Renton the Military Cross, and Adventurer's driver, Trooper John Mitten, the Military Medal. These awards really underline how extraordinary the action was. A single Churchill troop reduced to 1 tank, smashing a strongly held German position. If you made it to the end of this episode, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again for Ulysses Files' next episode. See you soon.